analytics. A very important aspect is the women's safety. Well, Gujarat's USP is women's safety. I was also discussing with some of the colleagues during this conference. But Dahod, it has its challenges in that sense because it's a border area, so you can understand these challenges are there. But women's safety, this has added to this integrated command and control center and our cameras. So we also have buses, smart buses under this. Four buses we have, which have dynamic routing facility, SOS buttons are there, especially for senior citizens and women citizens. And Gujarat government's home department has she teams, kind of women-headed and women-manned police personnel who are running like anti-rodeo squad in some other states. So this now this team is sitting in our center, ICCC center also, and they are coordinating with their counterparts on the field and contributing to the better women's safety. So this is contributing to a safe city, along with the usual illegal encroachments and general monitoring surveillance, also stray cattle encroachment. Yes, this was very useful even in its nascent stage. It proved to be quite useful in COVID pandemic. One area was this that we could monitor containment zones, movement through that. This was citizen engagement. In present era, we know that citizens have their expectations, increasing aspirations, even in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. They have great aspirations from government. So, and there is a will to, we as government servants, we also have grown in this culture and we have a will to engage with citizens. But often there are no seamless platforms, effective communication channels to communicate. So we have this as part of responsive citizen engagement through integrated command and control center. We have a website, mobile application is there. GIS-based complaints are there, so we can also know the location of the complainant or the citizen. Then there are kiosks, simple direct delivery routes at the public places like the Tehsildar office, contact center is there. And yes, emergency call box is there at various smartphones in the market and public places. This was in fact useful during the COVID pandemic again. So people could see the visual displays where we could give them the lockdown guidelines, give them the messages, IEC messages, and also this has a SOS button where the distress calls can be made by the. So through this responsive citizen engagement, we have better citizen connect, and obviously that increases the trust of the citizens in the government. And we have standard operating procedures to address the complaints, redirecting the complaint to the concerned department and the table. So this has in fact robust escalation mechanism has come up, and I'll repeat that the trust of the citizens has gone up. Belongingness towards the city has come up. And logically, this leads to citizen empowerment. If they can seamlessly and effectively communicate with the government functionaries without any hindrances, this increases the empowerment and the trust level. So through the mobile application website, all this has led to even an outsider. This is important because, as I said, there is floating population of around 35,000 in the city. So they can learn about the amenities, toilets, facilities available, and the other features of the city through this app and other platforms. So this is the heart of the smart city platform that for the smart governance that we are using. And this is directly what our topic is about, digital transformation using technology. So we have a connected Dahod now. We can connect directly to citizens through the platforms that I already discussed. These smart pole and smart components, this has one SOS is there that people can give distress calls. Then we have data is being, presently we are in the phase of data creation. We are collecting data, environmental sensor data, rain sensor data, location component is attached, which will later help us in analysis. And ICCC application is the heart of this whole mission for us. It has the smartphones have RLVD, that is red light violation detection and street light violation detection cameras, ANPR cameras are there. All these are inbuilt here, and this has definitely helped police also in crime detection. Now, for any urban local body, for the ones in urban sector, we know the biggest aim and the fundamental aim that we look forward is a cleaner and greener city. And in the bigger picture of smart Swachh Bharat mission also, cleaner city comes the basic and first responsibility for any urban local body. So no smart city mission can be smart without smart waste management. So we have the garbage collection is completely monitored through this remotely through this integrated command and control center. We can track the location, route of our vehicles which have been fitted with GPS. But even the dustbins that we have distributed to the public, commercially and in residences, they have RFID tags attached so that they can read and we can know in the integrated command and control center only that where which areas have been unaddressed, which are the nuisance points or collection points which have been left uncollected today. So city bus, as I already said, along with the safety question, it also has the environment question attached to it. We are promoting pooling public transport through this. And this project is in progress, will be completed in 2 months or 3 months. This is the smart water SCADA. So we have turbidity meters for quality as well as quantity of water. So remotely we can check the leakage of water also. So water SCADA is also coming up. We are at the verge of providing water in terms of quality and quantity as per WHO standard. Now, crisis management. No project can be complete if it does not serve in the times of crisis or disaster. So this has already been proven. Trial run was there during the COVID pandemic when this project was still in progress. We had visual messaging displays which were used. Telemedicine was used. This is very important. As I told that this is a tribal district, so we have restricted, meaning in their own interest, we have restricted the people's movement from villages to cities with a hub and spoke model. One PHC or CHC that acts as hub, and there are 10 spokes where people have taken benefit of specialist doctors for their diagnosis through telemedicine. And what if this whole crisis management machinery itself goes into crisis? If there is some natural or man-made disaster, if this set itself comes down, then what? So we have a disaster it switches on, and we have a backup for this. We have tested this as well. Opportunity for us. This project, an ambitious project, this was inaugurated by none other than Honorable Prime Minister of India. And this was also again put to use. This program was thronged by about 3 lakh visitors during his inaugural program. So the influx of buses, we can just imagine 3 lakh visitors coming from many vehicles, buses, government and private. So this was monitored through again ICCC, their movement. Going way forward, Dahod, as I told, it's a evolving district and evolving city. There are colleges, engineering college, ITI colleges, so this would be internship. Students are presently also coming for internship or exposure visits to the center. Going forward, we hope that it will also provide employment benefits to the indigenous children. Also, no projects can be in urban sector. We often see that there are huge assets, ambitious assets being given to the urban local bodies, but the bottleneck is that there is no maintenance is there and revenue model is not there. So the sustainability itself is in question. So in this sense, we have been approached by some private agencies, for example, for the visual messaging displays where they will post their advertisements, so we can have revenue generation also. So as I told that we are presently in the data creation phase, and data is power in the present scenario. So going forward, we also look for data monetization and climate change. One of the biggest challenges that is faced by mankind today, even that has not been untouched by this ambitious application. So environment sensors have been also installed in this, which are also measuring the air quality index. So ultimately, what was for the citizens has been dedicated to the citizens, connected to the roots in their own way. So this is Worli painting, and this is the front elevation of our ICCC facade, where local artisans themselves have embellished this painting on the facade. So with this, I close my presentation, and thank you so much for this patient listening and giving me an opportunity. to showcase a small city on the map of smart city, and before you all are cordially invited to visit our city, and also we are open to your suggestions and feedback also. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vanessa ma'am, and thank you so much for giving us time and being present here all the way from Lahore. We now have a small memento presentation to her, and I would like to invite Mr. Jiten Kumar Singh, Director of Industries and Mines Commissioner, Government of Jharkhand, on stage. Can we have a round of applause for him as well? Can we have a memento on stage for Ms. Prashasti Parekh? Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Ms. Parekh, for the presentation. We in fact now have an administrator's perspective on industry and MSMEs, building an Atmanirbhar Bharat by Mr. Jiten Kumar Singh, Director of Industries and Mines Commissioner, Government of Jharkhand. I would like to invite Mr. Singh on stage now. Welcome, sir.
A very good afternoon, all. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I attended the inaugural session and then I'm listening to all the speakers. So my name is Jiten Kumar Singh. I'm an IAS officer of Jharkhand Cadre, and I'm presently holding the charge of Director Industry Government of Jharkhand as well as Commissioner of Mines, Department of Mines and Geology, Government of Jharkhand. So I will be giving an overall presentation on both the subjects, mines as well as industry, because mines is the overall strength in Jharkhand. And because I'm holding charge of direct investment, so I will be giving overview of investment scenario and investment opportunity in Jharkhand. As we both as Jharkhand and Uttarakhand both are in the beginning stage, so I will be giving a presentation in a mix of both India and English.
Are you interested? I get interested. You have your mobile?
Meanwhile, till the presentation is being loaded, so I would like to apprise you all that Jharkhand is a very attractive investment destination. It's in East India. As we all know that there are three states formed together in 2000, year 2000. Uttarakhand and Jharkhand both were born simultaneously. So Jharkhand was born 15th November 2000, and it has completed almost 22 years as of now. So we both are relatively young, and our journey has gone through last 22 years in many ways simultaneously. Yes. Next. Sorry. So I have two presentations, small two presentations. So firstly, I'll tell you about the single window system operating in Jharkhand. सिंगल विंडो सिस्टम झारखंड में जो 2015 में आया और हम लोगों ने झारखंड में इन्वेस्टमेंट अट्रैक्ट करने के लिए ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस के कंटेक्स्ट के अकॉर्डिंगली हम लोगों ने सिंगल विंडो क्लियरेंस एक्ट को बनाया और वो सिंगल विंडो क्लियरेंस एक्ट वाज in 2015 and the idea and the mandate of the single window act was to further the intention and the motives of the ease of doing business and to attract the maximum investment in Jharkhand with the commitment of giving all the clearances, all the approvals within a limited time frame with minimal hassles to the business and investor community. So with that mandate, we notified the Jharkhand single window clearance in 2015 and I am deliberating upon the process and the key provisions of the act. This is the dashboard. Jharkhand advantage Jharkhand का एक dashboard है हमारा. किसी भी इन्वेस्टर को अगर वहाँ पर झारखंड में इन्वेस्टमेंट करना है तो हमारे यहाँ पे advantage.gov.in पे लॉगिन करना है. उसके बाद अपना लॉगिन आईडी एंड यूजर आईडी बनाना है और उस लॉगिन आईडी के बाद में इसकी टाइप ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट अगर आप करना चाहते हैं, कोई स्किल सेक्टर में करना चाहते हैं, कोई आईटी सेक्टर में करना चाहता है, कोई प्लास्टिक में करना चाहता है, किसी भी तरीके में भी करना चाहते हैं, a set of questionnaires will come. वो सेट ऑफ क्वेश्चनर्स के बाद जैसे आप सेट ऑफ क्वेश्चनर्स के आंसर देंगे तो सिस्टम ऑटोमेटिकली आपको एक सेट ऑफ अप्रूवल्स की लिस्ट बना के देता है कि डिपेंडिंग ऑन द नेचर ऑफ बिजनेस यू वांट टू सेट अप दिस काइंड ऑफ सेट ऑफ अप्रूवल्स एंड द नेसेसरी क्लियरेंस यू रिक्वायर फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट भारत। वो जितने भी अप्रूवल्स वहां पर आते हैं वो सारा का सारा उस सारे के सारे अप्रूवल्स के लिए इररेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ व्हिचएवर डिपार्टमेंट, चाहे वो अर्बन डेवलपमेंट डिपार्टमेंट का हो, चाहे लेबर का हो, चाहे पॉल्यूशन का हो, चाहे किसी भी डिपार्टमेंट का हो, हर उस डिपार्टमेंट के लिए सिंगल द कॉन्टैक्ट केवल एस advantage.jharkhand.in से ही पोस्टिंग किया जा सकता है, नेसेसरी से मिलते हैं तो केवल स्नैपशॉट ऑफ द इस हमारा जो एडवांटेज का पोर्टल है अराउंड 82,000 एप्लीकेंट्स हैं, 95% के आसपास अभी तक हमारे पास एप्लीकेशंस आई हैं, आउट ऑफ 85,000 अराउंड 80,000 applications have already been approved and rest of the applications are in the process because it's a dynamic data. Suppose the investor has made a request or application yesterday only, then that will also count in that 95,000. So the 95,000 is a cumulative figure since 2015 onwards. This is the process flow. So in advantage Jharkhand, suppose now we have taken a pictorial representation of labor department on this. So now we have notified around 180 services of different departments. Now suppose you want to take a factory license, suppose you want to have a registration under the Software Establishment Act. Suppose if you want to apply for the Pollution Control Certificate, CTO or CPE. So all the services have been notified and have been made available in this portal only. So this is the chart. Suppose this is the Department of Labor notification and this is the Department of Labor ये chart. शॉप्स एंड एस्टैब्लिशमेंट में अगर हमको करना है तो अगर आप देख सकते हैं तो थर्ड जो कॉलम है हमने उसमें 1 डे की टाइमलाइन डिसाइड करी है। इसकी टाइमलाइन जो हमने दो तरीके से डिसाइड करी है। एक हम लोगों ने एक टाइम बाउंड मैनर में लोगों को सर्विसेज की डिलीवरी वो सिटीजन एज वेल एज बिजनेस के लिए हम लोगों ने झारखंड राज्य सेवा देने की गारंटी है, झारखंड पब्लिक सर्विस डिलीवरी गारंटी है 2011 नोटिफाई किया। उसके अंदर हमने बहुत सारी सर्विसेज नोटिफाई किया और वो सर्विसेज सिटीजन और सिमिलरली हम लोगों ने सिंगल विंडो प्रेजेंस एक्ट 2015 नोटिफाई किया, उसके अंदर हमने बहुत सारी सर्विस नोटिफाई की। दोनों एक्ट्स के अंदर हम लोगों ने हर एक सर्विस के लिए एक टाइमलाइन डिसाइड की। सपोज अगर आपको शॉप एंड एस्टैब्लिशमेंट में रजिस्ट्रेशन कराना है, you get that registration within 1 day only, and if you don't get that registration within 1 day, it means that practically there is a violation of the act and it means that there is a penal penalty on that. So we have notified around 180 services of around more than 25 departments, including urban, etc., labor, every department. So they notify the timelines of each and every service. So around 180 services are notified with a prescribed timeline. So suppose the investor makes a apply online on our advantage portal only. Similarly, it gets automatically routed to that concerned department, and that concerned department has to perform and has to handle the application within a prescribed timeline only. So that's how that legislative provisions have been enabled in this. हर एक क्लियरेंस के लिए फोर्थ कॉलम में शोज द प्रोसीजर, क्या क्या डॉक्यूमेंट्स लगाने हैं उसमें, किस किस तरीके की आपको प्रोसेस फॉलो होगा, कहां कहां किस किस लेवल पर वो जाएंगे, उसका एसओपी क्या होगा, दैट इज आल्सो बी नोटिफाइड। इट्स अ पब्लिक, इसके लिए कोई आपको लॉगिन आईडी की जरूरत नहीं है, दिस इज अ पब्लिकली विजिबल पोर्टल। इसके अलावा फिर हमने नोटिफिकेशन, अगर हमने शॉप्स एंड एस्टैब्लिशमेंट को अगर 1 दिन में दे रहे हैं तो उसके लिए जो गवर्नमेंट से इनेबलिंग नोटिफिकेशन है, दैट द कॉपी ऑफ द इनेबलिंग नोटिफिकेशन इज आल्सो बीइंग पोस्टेड ऑन द portal. Similarly, after that, what is the fee? And the last column says that you can apply on that. We have a payment gateway. सारी fees के लिए आप इनसे online apply कर सकते हो. You don't have to go any other portal. Single one stop solution ये हमारा portal provide कराता है. और the one because I was talking about that, know your approvals. When you click it, then a set of questionnaires will come. You get to know about the kind of investment you want to make, and depending on the nature of the industry you want to set up, there will be a set of questionnaires will come to you. And after that, it will be decided that what kind of approvals do you require. So these are the set of questionnaires. Similarly, there is another tab just addition to the know your approval regarding the incentives also. I'll talk more about the incentive. We provide attractive set of investment and industry policy. We have a other policy also which is called the Carpet Industrial Investment Policy 2021, and apart from that we have sectoral policy. Like we have policies for textile sector, we have policies for food sector, we have policy for IT sector also. Then we have policy for different. Now, right now we are in the process of formulating electric vehicle manufacturing policy, auto component policy, pharmaceutical policy, and ethanol production promotion policy. So we are in the process of formulating other policies also. But as of now, whatever policies are there and the kind of incentives we provide under those policies, all those incentives are also listed in this portal already, and the investor that sets so we all kind of in terms in the shape of team budget. So the investor has to only for getting the entry. They don't need to physically visit the office, and there's no need to physically submit any kind of paper. Only the online portal is there. The investor जब उसने बना दिया सारा का सारा online पे ही apply करना है. These are the setup approvals we are required. These are the incentives. किस पॉलिसी में कौन-कौन से इंसेंटिव दिए जा रहे हैं, कितने इंसेंटिव दिए जा रहे हैं, उसके लिए अप्लाई करने का सिस्टम यहाँ पर है. किस चीज के लिए अप्लाई कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज़ हमारी इंसेंटिव होती है, बैंक इंटरेस्ट की सब्सिडी देती है हमारी, इसके अलावा एसजीएसटी रिइंबर्समेंट देती है, हमारे पास क्वालिटी सर्टिफिकेशन भी अलग से है, हमारे पास इसके अलावा जो कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव प्रोजेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट सब्सिडी होती है, एक्ट सब्सिडी उसके लिए अलग है. तो इन्वेस्टर को चूज करना होता है किस तरह की सब्सिडी चाहिए और उस सब्सिडी के जो नेसेसरी चेक्स एंड डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं वो सारे देना होता है. ये अगेन इंसेंटिव, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंसेंटिव, दिस इज द डिटेल नीचे वाला है. इसमें हम लोगों ने इंसेंटिव के सारे बताया हुआ कौन से इंसेंटिव है जो आप पोर्टल पे देखते हैं, तो आपको इंसेंटिव सारे दिखाई देते हैं. These are the features of our. जैसे ही हम लोग ऑनलाइन अप्लाई करते हैं सिंगल विंडो सिस्टम पे, right from that step onwards until the final disclosure, at every stage the SMS also goes and the email notification also goes to the investor. The moment you make application, immediately you will be notified by both ways, email as well as SMS. And at every stage, suppose you can track the application. Suppose you have made the application and now your application is got stable. So that tracking of status is enabled in this portal, and that tracking is being notified to the investor through SMS and email notification. Common हमारे सर्विस हैं, लैंडलाइन नंबर हैं, लगातार उसकी बात हो सकती है और सारा ग्रीवेंस रिड्रेसल कर सकते हैं. ग्रीवेंस रिड्रेसल के लिए हम लोगों ने कुछ 7 डेज का टाइम दिया है कि जो भी ग्रीवेंस है कि हम लोग 7 डेज में रेस्पॉन्स करेंगे और मैक्सिमम 14 डेज में हम लोग उनका रिड्रेसल करेंगे. डेडिकेटेड लोग हैं, MIS डैशबोर्ड में ऑलरेडी शो. This is a flow chart of how user has to register on the portal and then how he has to apply on that portal. This is a single window clearance that enables formulation of this, which enables providing all these services through a single window platform only. So now we have made an enabling registration also. In this, the mandate of the act was that, as I have already elaborated, for granting time-bound approvals, etc. If an investor is aggrieved by any kind of decision, then there are appellate provisions also, there are grievance handling separate mechanism also. So this all is regarding the combined application form is one form. Suppose अगर आपको कोई इन्वेस्टर को सबमिट करना है और उसको उनको CTO भी चाहिए, कंसेंट टू ऑपरेट सर्टिफिकेट चाहिए, पॉल्यूशन कंट्रोल सर्टिफिकेट से प्लस उनको फैक्ट्री लाइसेंस भी चाहिए, शॉप इंस्टॉलेशन भी चाहिए, उनको किसी और मल्टीपल डिपार्टमेंट से भी किसी अलग-अलग तरीके के अप्रूवल चाहिए. उन सारे डिपार्टमेंट्स के अलग-अलग फॉर्म्स भरने की जरूरत नहीं है. We have developed a combined application form, so which is called as a CAP. तो एक combined form पे सारी डिटेल्स भर देनी है और केवल वो combined application form से ही सारी की सारी इंफॉर्मेशन रेस्पेक्टिव डिपार्टमेंट्स को फॉरवर्ड हो जाती है. अलग-अलग फॉर्म अलग-अलग डिपार्टमेंट के लिए अलग-अलग अप्रूवल्स की जरूरत नहीं है. That's why वो जो प्रोविजन यहाँ पे हमने किया हुआ है. ये हमने सर्विसेज में बताया था अराउंड 180 हमने सर्विसेज नोटिफाई की हैं. किस-किस एक्ट में कितनी सर्विसेज नोटिफाई करी हैं, ये उसके डिटेल्स है कि कौन सी सर्विस कितने दिन में हम लोगों को उसको प्रोवाइड करनी है. और अगर वो उस दिन से बियॉन्ड जा रहा है, इट मींस कि टेक्निकली that concerned department or official is in violation of the consent act. तो ये हमने अलग-अलग सर्विसेज झारखंड राज्य सेवा निधि गारंटी ये 2011 में नोटिफाई हुआ था, सिंगल विंडो प्रेजेंस है आने से पहले ही हुआ था। अलग अलग इसमें फील्ड प्रोविजंस हैं, पेनल्टी प्रोविजंस हैं, और इसके अलावा मैं पॉलिसी के बारे में बात कर रहा हूँ। शुरू में बताया है कि झारखंड में हमारी एक अदर पॉलिसी जिसको हम बोलते हैं झारखंड इंडस्ट्रियल एंड इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रमोशन पॉलिसी राइट नाउ 2021। इससे पहले 2016 की पॉलिसी, 2011 की पॉलिसी थी, और उससे पहले 2001 की पॉलिसी थी, और 2000 में हमारा बढ़ती हुआ था झारखंड स्टेट का। आज की डेट में वो पॉलिसी, इसके अलावा और सेक्टरल पॉलिसी है। प्रोक्योरमेंट पॉलिसी जो है वो ये इसलिए है कि जितने भी स्टेट के एमएसएमई हैं उनसे ही हमें प्रोक्योर करना है। गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का भी सेम ऐसी एक पॉलिसी है, जहां पर उनका 2017 में ऑर्डर निकला था, उसके 2019 और 20 में उसका सब्सिक्वेंट मॉडिफिकेशंस हुए, और जहां पर जितने भी डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ झारखंड के, वो सारे के सारे डिपार्टमेंट्स को मैंडेटरी एमएसएमई से प्रोक्योर करना है। उसकी प्रोविजन जैसे उसमें है कि अगर एमएसएमई अगर झारखंड का ही रहने वाला है और उसको L2 भी आता है, अगर वो L1 पर नहीं आता, तो उसको ये अपॉर्चुनिटी दी जाएगी कि वो L1 से अपने रेट को मैच करे, और L1 से रेट को मैच करने के बाद उसको कम से कम 50% उस टोटल ऑर्डर की क्वांटिटी जो है उससे सप्लाई जो है वो प्रोक्योर की जाएगी। तो एमएसएमई जो है वो झारखंड में लोकेटेड है, उनको सपोर्ट करने के लिए झारखंड प्रोक्योरमेंट पॉलिसी। देन वी हैव ऑटोमोबाइल पॉलिसी, एक्सपोर्ट पॉलिसी, फूड प्रोसेसिंग, फीड प्रोसेसिंग, कार्ड एंड टेक्सटाइल पॉलिसी। टेक्सटाइल का एज वी नो दैट कॉटन इज ग्रोन इन वेस्टर्न रीजन ऑफ द कंट्री, हमारे इस रीजन में नहीं ग्रो होती है। डिस्पाइट दैट हमारे यहाँ पे 2015 से पहले किसी तरीके का टेक्सटाइल का कोई बिजनेस नहीं था, क्योंकि हम लोग 2016 में हमने पॉलिसी लेकर आए टेक्सटाइल और उस पॉलिसी की वजह से आज हमारे यहाँ पे आर्गन टेक्सटाइल्स है, सूरत प्लास्टिक्स है, शाही एक्सपोर्ट्स है, किशोर एक्सपोर्ट्स है, बहुत सारे ऐसे टेक्सटाइल की यूनिट्स हैं जो आज हमारे यहाँ पे झारखंड में काम कर रहे हैं। And that policy has been extended for 1 year and it is expiring this year. Now we are in the process of formulating another fresh policy. तो जिस सेक्टर में हमारा कोई स्ट्रेंथ नहीं था, जिस सेक्टर में हमारे पास किसी तरह की कोई प्रेजेंस नहीं था, हमने इंसेंटिवाइज करके और पॉलिसी इंटरवेंशंस करके उस सेक्टर में इन्वेस्टमेंट को हम लोगों ने वहां पे अट्रैक्ट किया। आई विल मेक अनदर प्रेजेंटेशन, शॉर्ट प्रेजेंटेशन, because I'm holding the charge of Commissioner of Mines also, so I will be I would like to deliver something on mines and potential of mining sector in Jharkhand also. So it will take only 5 minutes. Yes, please. This is the overall scenario. ग्लोबल माइनिंग सेगमेंट में 20 में कितना था, हमारा जीडीपी कितना था, इंडिया में अराउंड 8.72% ग्लोबल लीडिंग माइनिंग मार्केट है, और ग्लोबल लीडिंग माइनिंग मार्केट में 2020 में $2260 बिलियन का रेवेन्यू आया था। ये इंडिया के जो मेजर मिनरल्स हैं जो 2018 में जो हुए थे, उसमें जिंक और लेड, स्टील, थोड़ा सारा उसका हम लोगों ने बताया हुआ है। मैं आपको झारखंड के बारे में बताऊंगा। झारखंड में एज नो कि हमारा जो मिनरल प्रोडक्शन का वैल्यू है वो 272 करोड़ रुपीस था, ये 2020 के फिगर्स है। और इसमें अगर हम पाई चार्ट में देखेंगे तो हमारा जो झारखंड है वो स्टेट ब्लू से शो किया गया है। और हमारी क्या क्या स्ट्रेंथ है, आयरन ओर में झारखंड जो है इंडिया में नंबर 1 है, यूरेनियम में नंबर 1 है, कोर में, माइका में, एस्ट्रोस में है, क्रोमाइट में सेकंड है, ग्रेनाइट, कॉपर, बॉक्साइट है, थोरियम में हमारा थर्ड। पूरे स्टेट पूरे कंट्री भर में 36% गोल्ड पॉलिश पर 29% झारखंड मिलता है, और पूरे कंट्री का 26% हमारे यहाँ पे मिलता है। मैक्सिमम आयरन ओडिशा का सेकंड नंबर पे हम लोग आते हैं। और करीब अलग-अलग मिनरल्स हैं उसका ये अगेन जो मैंने बताया उसी के बारे में है। अलग-अलग किस-किस माइन से किस-किस मिनरल से कितना रेवेन्यू आता है। मार्केट में माइनिंग जो होती है वो दोनों तरह की होती है। माइनिंग होती है एक्टिव माइनिंग भी आती है, और माइनिंग सेक्टर से निकलकर और जो है वो प्रोसेसिंग के लिए दूसरे स्टेट में भी जाते हैं। जो ऑलरेडी कंपनी काम कर रही है झारखंड में, आदित्य बिरला और सारी की सारी जितनी बड़ी-बड़ी कंपनीज है वो सब काम कर रही हैं। टाटा स्टील का जो इंडिया का सबसे बड़ा स्टील मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्लांट है वो जमशेदपुर में ही लोकेटेड है, झारखंड में ही लोकेटेड है। और सारी इतनी स्किल्स रिलेटेड कंपनी है, वो ज्यादातर कंपनी से जुड़े हैं वहाँ पर। झारखंड ट्रेडिशनली जो है वो रिसोर्स बेस्ड इकोनॉमी रहा है, नेचुरल रिसोर्स बेस्ड इकोनॉमी रहा है, एंड दैट शोज की ये हमारे झारखंड का जो मैप है, उस मैप में जो मिनरल कहाँ पे किस किस डिस्ट्रिक्ट, टोटल 24 डिस्ट्रिक्ट में हमारे झारखंड में किस किस तरीके के मिनरल्स हैं, ये उसका पूरा एक मैप है। कैपेसिटी हमारे पास अगर हम बात करें कोल की तो 72.2 बिलियन टन हमारे पास है। और किस किस डिस्ट्रिक्ट में लोकेटेड है, ये जो अवेलेबिलिटी है ये डिस्ट्रिक्ट के नाम है नीचे। और किस किस आयरन एंड स्टील में हमारे पास कैपेसिटी 3700 मिलियन टन ऑफ हेमाटाइट डिपॉजिट्स अवेलेबल है। ऑलरेडी हम लोग माइनिंग के ऑप्शंस करने की प्रोसेस में है, पहले भी ऑप्शंस हो रखे हैं, कैपिटल माइंस हो रखी है, अभी फ्रेश जो है हमारे कोर्ट के मिनरल्स एनआईटी निकले हैं ऑलरेडी एमएसटीसी की वेबसाइट पर अवेलेबल है, और वो अभी बाकी ऑप्शन जो है उनके हो रहे हैं। बॉक्साइट रिजर्व 68 मिलियन टन है, लाइमस्टोन में 511 अलग अलग और ये बाकी इंडिया की टोटल जितनी मिनरल स्टैंड है उसका 40% मिनरल स्टैंड है वो हमारे पास झारखंड में है। अलग अलग तरीके के 30 करीब हमारे पास मिनरल अवेलेबल है। अराउंड 45% ऑफ द मिनरल जो भी स्टील प्रोडक्शन होता है वो झारखंड से प्रोड्यूस होता है। एक ऑफ ब्रेक का जो मैंने सिंगल विंडो के बारे में बताया था, अभी आप लोगों को प्रेजेंटेशन थोड़ा सा शो किया था, बताया था कि हमारे लेबलिंग प्रोविजन है सिंगल विंडो में किस तरीके से यूनिफाइड सर्विसेज देते हैं। एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट फंक्शनलिटी ऑफ द सिंगल विंडो ओनली, हमारी जब से ईओडीबी की रैंकिंग शुरू हुई है कंट्री वाइड 2015 में शुरू हुई थी ईओडीबी की रैंकिंग, और 2020 में लास्ट रैंकिंग आई, 2021 में कोई रैंकिंग नहीं आई। 2015 से लेकर 2020 तक हमारी फर्स्ट एवर रैंकिंग 7th आई थी और बेस्ट एवर रैंकिंग 3rd आई थी। 2020 में जो लास्ट रैंक आई थी हमारी पूरे कंट्री में 5th ईओडीबी रैंक आई थी। तो इट शोज कि सिंगल विंडो में जो प्रेजेंटेशन दिखा रहा था मे बी शायद एंड वी आर ये हमारा क्या कनेक्टिविटी है वहां पे किस किस तरीके से है, और इनलैंड वाटर वेज भी है हमारे पास में। इसके अलावा रेल कनेक्टिविटी, रोड कनेक्टिविटी और एयर कनेक्टिविटी है। एयर कनेक्टिविटी अभी रांची में फंक्शनल है, रेलवे में ऑलरेडी ऑपरेट ट्रायल लैंडिंग हो चुकी है, नया एयरपोर्ट बन गया है, ट्रायल लैंडिंग हो चुकी है और उसके कमर्शियल फ्लाइट्स किसी भी दिन हो सकती है। इंडस्ट्रियल हेरिटेज एवरी I think I have already deliberated on these issues. This is a land allotment. हम लोगों के यहाँ पे झारखंड इंडस्ट्रियल एरिया डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी है, जियाडा इसको बोलते हैं, झारखंड इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी, एंड इट प्रोवाइड्स लैंड। किस रीजन में उसको 4 हम रीजन्स में डिवाइड किया है सेंटर्स में, किस रीजन में कितना कितना वहाँ पे लैंड अवेलेबल है, उस लैंड के लिए हमारे पास अट्रैक्टिव पॉलिसी है। और इनफैक्ट हमारी जो एग्जिस्टिंग पॉलिसीज है वो अलाउ करती हैं कि अगर हम झारखंड की जियाडा की लैंड देते हैं तो जो भी उसका सर्किल रेट होता है उस सर्किल रेट के 50% अपफ्रंट को देते हैं और रेस्ट ऑफ द 50% को 10 इक्वल इंस्टॉलमेंट्स में ओवर द 5 इयर्स पीरियड देना होता है। तो वो हमने अपनी इन्वेस्टमेंट पॉलिसीज में ही ऑलरेडी इसको इंक्लूड किया हुआ है, जैसे कि इन्वेस्टर्स को कंसेशन रेट पे लैंड देते हैं। ये सब ऑनलाइन होता है, कोई भी इस कैटेगरी में निकलता है और जो प्रोसेस होती है अलॉटमेंट वो सब ऑनलाइन होता है, ऑफलाइन मोड में नहीं होता है। ये जो मैं बजट पॉलिसी बताया था, झारखंड इंडस्ट्रियल एंड इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रमोशन पॉलिसी है, कुछ हाईलाइट्स में क्या हम करें। इसका ये हमारा टारगेट था कि हम 5 इयर्स तक का पीरियड है, 2026 में ये खत्म होगी। हमारा टारगेट है कि करीब 1 लाख करोड़ के आसपास हम लोग इन्वेस्टमेंट लेकर आएंगे और 5 लाख के आसपास जनरेशन करेंगे एम्प्लॉयमेंट का। ये हमारे प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर्स कौन-कौन से हैं, इनमें से कुछ प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर्स की हमारे पास ऑलरेडी सेक्टरल सेपरेट पॉलिसी है, कुछ प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर्स को हम लोगों ने पॉलिसी इसी पॉलिसी के प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर करके उसको अलग से इंसेंटिव दिए हैं। कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव प्रोजेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट सभी सारे इंसेंटिव जितने भी हैं वो सारे रिवर्समेंट की शेप में ये उनकी कैटेगरी है, इनके बारे में बताता हूं क्या-क्या है। कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट सब्सिडी जो है हमारी 25% है और टोटल ऑफ द फिक्स्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट इन प्लांट एंड मशीनरी। सपोज इफ समवन हैज इन्वेस्टेड 100 करोड़ रुपए तो हम 25 करोड़ रुपए का रीइंबर्स कर देते हैं। सपोज किसी ने अगर 200 करोड़ रुपए इन्वेस्ट किया तब भी हम 25 करोड़ करेंगे, 25% है, लेकिन अप टू द मैक्सिमम लिमिट ऑफ 25 करोड़ रुपए। एंकर यूनिट का अर्ली बर्ड सब्सिडी के लिए 5% एडिशनल subsidy है बिल over and above this 25%. Stamp duty registration हम लोग जितना भी stamp duty होती है या registration fee होती है 100% reimburse करते हैं. मैं अगेन मतलब बार-बार उसको रिपीट कर रहा हूँ हमारे सारी सब्सिडी जो है वो exemption फॉर्म में reimbursement है. First you have to spend and then you have to claim it for us, claim it from us and then we reimburse. पेटेंट रजिस्ट्रेशन में अगर क्वालिटी सर्टिफिकेशन कराता है तो अप टू द मैक्सिमम 50% और मे बी इंसेंटिव हम लोगों को देते हैं. जीएसटी इंसेंटिव अलग अलग जिसकी मैं बता रहा हूँ लार्ज यूनिट और एमएसएमई लार्ज एमएसएमई के डेफिनेशन वही है गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की डेफिनेशन. गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया सेज कि 50 करोड़ रुपए सॉरी 50 करोड़ रुपए से ज्यादा का प्लांट मशीनरी में इन्वेस्टमेंट या 250 करोड़ रुपए से ज्यादा का टर्नओवर अगर दोनों चीज होगी तभी वो लार्ज माना जाएगा. तो ये जो लार्ज है लार्ज मेगा अल्ट्रा मेगा ये वो कैटेगरी वही डेफिनेशन. तो उनमें हम लोग 9 इयर्स तक 12 इयर्स तक 7 इयर्स तक जीएसटी का रिइंबर्समेंट देते हैं. इंटरेस्ट सब्सिडी अगर आपने लोन लिया है बैंक से अलग अलग कैटेगरी के इंडस्ट्रीज के लिए अलग अलग इंटरेस्ट सबवेंशन 5% रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट सबवेंशन है. और आपको नॉन एमएसएमई सेक्टर के लिए अगर आपने बैंक से लोन लिया है जितना भी आप इंटरेस्ट पे कर रहे हो अप टू मैक्सिमम 3 करोड़ रुपए तक का हम यहां से रिइंबर्स करते हैं. सपोज आपने लोन लिया और आपकी उसकी इंटरेस्ट आउट वो 1 साल में या 5 साल में या 1 साल में 10 करोड़ रुपए भी हो रहा है तो हम आपको 3 करोड़ रुपए का मैक्सिमम कर देंगे. एंकर वो यूनिट है कि जिसके साथ में कुछ सब्सिडरी यूनिट्स के साथ में आएंगी और वो अपने साथ पूरा इकोसिस्टम लेकर आएगा. अगर ऐसे कोई एंकर यूनिट आते हैं तो 5% एडिशनल सब्सिडी है. सिमिलरली अर्ली सब्सिडी जब भी पॉलिसी आई थी उसके विदिन 2 इयर्स में कोई भी आ जाएगा तो उसको 5% these are the kind of items which I wanted to tell about the investment opportunities in Jharkhand. And though I believe that this summit is primarily a IT summit, but I would request all the investment community present here to kindly visit Jharkhand and opportunities available there and do invest in Jharkhand. It's an emerging state. We have savings here. Say 20 years of short history in a kind of sense. मैं डायरेक्टर इंडस्ट्री है वो रांची में ही रांची इस पोर्टल को विजिट करें. इसमें आपको सारे हेल्पलाइन नंबर सारे मिलेंगे and feel free to check this and again I am looking forward to kindly make an investment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jiten sir. That was a wonderful presentation on the cloud of Jharkhand. And that was Mr. Jiten Kumar Singh, Director of Industries and Mines Commissioner, Government of Jharkhand. And I would like to invite Mr. Kamal Kishore Yadav, Commissioner, Taxation Department, Government of Punjab, to present a small memento to Mr. Jiten Kumar Singh. Sir, can we have him on the dais, please? Can we have the memento? A round of applause, please. Thank you so much, Mr. Yadav, and thank you so much, Mr. Singh. Thank you so much, sir. We now, in fact, have a administrative perspective by Ms. C. Thomas Vedian, Industries Commissioner and Director of Industries and Commerce, Government of Tamil Nadu. She is, in fact, joining us virtually. Yeah, that's Ms. Siggy Thomas. I would like to in fact welcome Ms. Siggy Thomas Vedian, the Industries Commissioner and Director of Industries and Commerce, Government of Tamil Nadu. Welcome, ma'am. And ma'am, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Well, ma'am, we can hear you. We can hear you. Can you please start with your presentation?
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
I can
Yes.
hear well.
Yes,
I'm just guessing.
Yes, ma'am.
Respected Chair, distinguished co-panelists, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is a privilege to be part of this India Transformation Summit in Uttarakhand. I thank the government of Uttarakhand as well as all officials and non-officials who gave us this opportunity. My presentation is about industry and MSME facilitation in Tamil Nadu, the recent initiatives we have taken. To give a context to these initiatives, what we were trying to was facilitation at scale. Just now, we had this Jharkhand presentation about the single window portal. That is one of the efforts for facilitation at scale. However, the single window portal in Tamil Nadu is catering to maybe 2% of the businesses or business requirements in Tamil Nadu. Our total requirement is about 60 lakh businesses. So at scale is what we are aiming is the entire universal set of 60 lakh businesses. Second aspect is we are looking at speeding of things. When we look at the as-is processes in various departments, the speed is somewhere between 15 days, 7 days, 15 days, 30 days, 45 days, and sometimes bank loans take 90 days, 180 days also. But if you look at the private sector, loans are sanctioned alone within less than an hour, in 59 minutes, and a disbursement happens in less than 48 hours. So this is the kind of speed with which the government of Tamil Nadu wants to operate eventually. Third is customization. We understand that one size does not fit all these 60 lakh enterprises in any state. Sectorally, we need to be customized. Size-wise, they need to be customized. When they're looking at domestic sales or when they're looking at exports, we need customers. But right now, our schemes are coming, and any kind of customization requires an highest level, which is quite tough and timely. So we wanted to bring in customization using artificial intelligence and machine learning quite fast. And on the basis of the stabilization of the system, delegate the customization to a lower level. All these things, even operating at scale with speed or customization, is possible only if we use state-of-the-art IT and upgrade it with the possibilities and opportunities given by technology development. But we also understand that technology alone is not a solution. So we need feet on the ground for this facilitation. So the Tamil Nadu model is combining technology and feet on the ground. So with this basic introduction, the scheme of the presentation is fourfold. One is, what are the problems faced by industries and businesses? And what is the solution? And can we bring in some design thinking, system thinking into finding the solutions? Second is a set of initiatives which will help the businesses to get term loans. And third set of initiatives is helping the businesses get easier working capital loans. And fourth is speaking about the collaborative model. In the collaborative, we believe that there should be a single source of truth through APIs. Whatever is filed in ITS need not be filed again by the business with Tamil Nadu government or any other system within India. And also, as I said, on-ground classification will support enterprises. Now, to have a quick look at what are the problems faced by micro, small, medium, and small enterprises. The first thing is, yes, and even if they own an enterprise, they have a difficulty in getting capital. Most of them take it from own sources. And if at all they have to approach the banks, they have to press the collateral. Now, collateral is a very difficult thing for a micro, small, medium enterprise. When that becomes very difficult, they approach the money and there are other sources for which they have to pay very high interest. Even after bearing all this, when they supply their goods, the vendor payments are delayed. Whether the vendor payments are delayed, received or not received, they will have to pay their salaries and then have the working capital for the next quarter. So this is a big struggle for a normal enterprise, and this financing problem is what the government plans to address. There are solutions to each of the problems discussed before, but they are all standing in silos. They are not linked together. And these solutions, the effectiveness of these solutions are limited if they are not linked together. So what is GeoPM's ultimate vision for sequencing or linking solutions is, first regarding financing. The upper panel is about financing or investment or working capital. So we are saying that either the company is bootstrapped or it is not supplying and there is a bill discounting facility which is available. From that, the company, if it has a credit score which enjoys confidence of the banking system, they will get the eligibility for credit and the government can support the credit there. And in spite of this, if it is like what happened during the pandemic, there will be specific schemes supported by the government. And the MSME facilitation council, the Samadhan portal, which is given by our BDA, will be reactivated to solve the crisis situations when the second panel is understand the MSPs. Just that is informed and one day because they always they can browse the it's not an understand. Need application because and offline applications for that and functioning. And beyond that, technological upgradation requirement, this again will have to be supported by schemes of the central of the government of India and the government of Tamil Nadu. It will be tracking the MSME. We will be tracking this. Words with or beyond or maybe maximum 4 to 5 years unless they do a technology upgrade. So, for the government, these micro, small, and medium enterprises are of supreme importance when we look at the economic aspect, the employment aspect, and the fact that nobody is keeping track of those enterprises which are going undergo. Nobody is keeping track will let these enterprises and that's the competition start. So the idea is to have a dynamic electronic industry database, and whenever we not functioning, looking at electricity drawing records, we will be able to proactively reach out to them, understand the problem, and then plug it CRC, technological upgradation, branding or advertisement, whatever price ceramics, or even some kind of support here so that they can get a credit score, eligibility for credit. So this is how the system is now in government. Now, with regard to the first panel, the presentation, the following presentation is concerning the first panel, financing partners. So, with regard to financing, credit guarantee, a credit score, and ongoing threats, these are the three major things that we are trying to bring in. Credit guarantee is already existing with CGTMSC government of India. We have a new scheme which will function in collaboration with CGTMs so that there is no reinvention of the wheel and the banks are also not confused. Second is a credit score. So we have seen that MSC has been functioning for the past 21 years. But the offtake or the uptake from CGTMSC for credit guarantee was not very encouraging in the past 21 years. Primarily because just by giving a credit guarantee, banks are not happy to lend. There is credit hesitancy. That is where we are bringing in a credit score, looking at the success and the popularity of civil score. Okay, so you send me a new link. I'll just close this. Okay, please go ahead. Yes.
Up next is a technical presentation. I welcome Mr. V. Radhakrishnan, Director PCL SaaS India, to deliver his presentation on revenue intelligence and management. Mr. Radhakrishnan.
Just give us a minute. Okay, I think as what is expected in making this presentation, we
has to start with an explanation. We have seen that. So good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining this track of value intelligence and management. Uh, I just want to check if this is audible.
Yes.
Okay. So, from the having come and practicing analytics, this would be the best one what I could look at in terms of data doesn't drive the organization. Data is very, very important, but what really happens is data has to speak in the form of something what we call as analysis, and that analysis should help you to take decisions. From being an analytics company, what we strongly believe is that data has value and insight only after you analyze it. Okay. So, and that's where we get into how these decisions really help us. The decisions will help you in terms of engaging with citizens. The decisions will help you in terms of engaging with businesses from the government perspective. The decisions will help you in terms of working on environment, climate change. The decisions will help you in terms of providing security to the citizens. The decisions will also help you. The focus of the topic, what I'm going to discuss about in terms of creating digital government, and the focus, the decisions will also help you in terms of what we have seen in the last 3 years in terms of being able to work in front line as part of any unusual situation. So when we move forward in the context of revenue intelligence and management, okay, uh, based on our experience of engaging with multiple states and central government departments in the context of revenue intelligence and department, I just want to summarize, give some insights, our experiences, point of views on these departments, what we work on, and the kind of impact what these departments have created in terms of both in terms of citizen engagement, secondly generating revenue, and also reversing the situation what they were experienced as part of the disruption what we've seen in terms of COVID. So let me just start with our flagship engagements with multiple states, more than 7 states and central state governments. These in the context of commercial tax or GST. So what is that? What is that state government departments, specifically GST departments, are looking in the context of GST? We have had a regime, what we call it as value-added tax earlier, and all the states have moved towards GST. When they moved from VAT to GST, I think there is a regime shift in terms of the way, the kind of data that was available, the kind of analysis that needs to be done, the kind of situations what each of these departments had to face. But if you look at the problem statement, what departments are seeing at this point of time, most of the issues what departments are facing at the time being able to understand the dealer. So for the state tax department or GST department, the customer is the dealer. And it is very important for them to understand the dealer, not just from the suspicious lens, but also more from facilitating in terms of interactions, facilitating the dealer on what kind of support that will be provided to dealer. And that is where we are talking about dealer profiling and also from dealer risk profiling. And some of the important aspects is also around, over a period of time, there have been introductions of various new aspects into the GST regime. One such aspect, of course, is the e-way bill, primarily to look into the transportation codes and so on. So over a period of time, our department started by virtue of being Model 1 and Model 2 stage, based on the kind of data that was available to them. They have a lot of kind of analysis that is available that needs to be done. And one such analysis could involve, understanding the dealer in the form of dealer risk profiling. Secondly, in terms of understanding the transactions that happen between the various dealers, and that is where we talk about circular trading and so on, basically to identify any bogus transactions, bogus trading between the dealers. So all in all, what we see is that just to talk about usage of analytics, usage of machine learning in the context of GST. Here is an example what I'm talking about. This is one of the states in South which has implemented analytic solutions and which has reaped the benefits of using this over a period of time. They have essentially consolidated data across multiple sources, including from what they had in the erstwhile batch regime, and also utilizing the data from multiple other departments. So here is one example where we're talking about in one of the cases, in one of the cases, they could essentially identify a 230 crore case and evasion in a major iron and steel dealer where they were polluting and essentially generating bogus bills or bogus invoices. Now, this is one example where we could clearly see how essentially usage of analytics AI/ML is helping the department in terms of generating revenue and also identifying the leakages. Now, second example which I want to take is stamps and registration. So, whatever we want to register in a state in the context of a property, marriage, or any other activity which needs to be recognized, so we essentially go and do that activity in stamps and registration department. Okay. Now, the issue with stamps and registration department is that most of the documentation, the registration document of the properties, registration documents of any other activities, mostly have been in the form of paper. But in last few years, they started digitizing that particular data. Now, in the stamps and registration department, there are two types of data what to look at. One is the structured data, the other one is unstructured data. Because as part of the registration, it will essentially the descriptions will run into pages, and each of these pages is also a source of a leakage of revenue. So I'll give an example how it happens. Here is an example. It's a real life example how there is a possibility of revenue leakage for a stamps and registration department. So this is what I was referring to. There will be a deed or a document. We have to essentially extract the data. So through artificial intelligence, we essentially extract the data and make it amenable friendly so that we can analyze. We cannot analyze. We cannot analyze a document like this by itself. We essentially need to convert this into structured data. Now, how do we do that? We essentially convert that into structured data and then start identifying patterns in this data. Now, here is an example where a property has been leased out for 99 years, whereas in the document actually it mentions of 999 years. Okay, it mentions 990 years. So there is an inconsistency between what is being mentioned in the first page, what is being mentioned on the same time period in the subsequent pages. So this is one example where automatically by examining the document, they are able to identify the inconsistencies in the document which would lead to the revenue leakage for the department. The third example, which is very, very prominent, excise being one of the top revenue earners, almost top 5 revenue earners in a particular state. What kind of analytics intelligence that can be deployed which will help state governments realize more revenue? Now, the biggest issue, I think most of the what you've seen where they're working with, the way they have understood, I mean, I should not be speaking about this, the way they have understood the consumption of liquor by individuals before COVID versus what is happening after COVID, there's a huge change actually, which essentially means that now the kind of understanding, the kind of analysis, the kind of insights what they have before COVID is not really applicable at this point of time. So which essentially means that analytics should also help you to not just analyze historical data, but also be able to analyze the data based on the disruptions in the data. Now, what happens is, there is one example where we're talking about where departments often come up with a requirement. How do they really estimate, forecast the consumption of liquor? This is one of the, and again, for some people for someone who is interested in terms of looking at this consumption at district level, circle level, looking at this consumption at various, types of liquor, and then actually looking at the historical period, time data in last 1 year or 2 years. Idea is to arrive at an estimate or a forecast what could be the consumption so that they can essentially give that inputs for manufacturing or give those inputs for, godowns for inventory. Second, of course, is based on this consumption and different types of liquor, they also need to estimate what could be the revenue, which is very, very critical from the state finance department perspective. So again, we look at from the consumption, we look at historical data and arrive at an estimate for revenue. Again, what is also very, very important, if somebody is really into this particular department, you have something called an ex-distillery price and MRP. Ex-distillery price is what is being provided as a manufacturing price in simple terms, and MRP is what goes into the market. So, state departments, specifically excise departments, would want to analyze if the difference, the ratio between EDP, ex-distillery price versus MRP, specifically in the bordering districts of two states, if bordering district essentially is moving to other people from bordering district are moving to other state and getting it, so that is a huge loss of revenue for a particular state. So this kind of analysis helps the states to understand, what should be the ratio of ex-distillery price versus MRP. Now, again, mining department in most of the states, not all the states, in most of the states, mining again is one of the major source of revenue. What kind of analytics can be deployed in mining? Again, if you understand mining as an area, you have a concept of lessor, lessee, licensee, major, minor minerals. There's a concept of exploration, grade, and so on. Actually, so we essentially take into consideration all that data to analyze if there is a leakage of revenue to the state government. One example which I can give you in the context of leakage of revenue is where each, when the lessor gets permission to over the mineral in a particular location, what needs to happen is that they need to declare the grade of that particular ore, which essentially will determine the royalty that needs to be paid by that particular lessor to the government. Now, assuming that there are multiple lessors in the same locality, it is quite possible. What we have seen is that a few lessors essentially declare lesser grade of ore so that they can pay lesser royalty, which essentially results in leakage of revenue for the government. So what we do essentially is we analyze all of these dimensions which I just mentioned to identify if there is any leakage happening to the government. Again, we also look at what is the estimate forecast with respect to the production. This is again is very important. Again, this is very because the production will also determine the pricing within the market, because that will essentially start taking a view in terms of what will be the available material with respect to a particular role in the market, and that is very sensitive, and that is where we give this estimate with respect to or the forecast with respect to the production of the particular mineral. Now, this is again very interesting. So we all spoke about various government departments. Here is one municipal corporation, one of the largest municipal corporation. The major source of revenue for a municipal corporation is a property tax, whatever we pay to the municipal corporation. Now, can you imagine that there is a lot of revenue leakage even in the form of property tax to the municipal corporation? And it is very important that municipal corporation collects a tax to ensure that they provide services to the citizens. Of issues, and one of the major issues what we see is in this classification of property, which essentially means that somebody who has a commercial essentially is declaring that property as residential, so that there is a lesser tax on that particular property. So there are various reasons by which there could be loss of revenue for a municipal corporation. Based on our engagement in one of the large municipal corporations, they could really see immediate benefit of 100 crores within 3 months of our engagement in the form of collections. So municipal corporations, one of the major issues what they have is arrears, and those could be in the form of hundreds of thousands of crores. So there is an immense success story what we have in terms of working with municipal corporations. This is in the context of property tax. So here are some of the examples. Can you imagine that it is quite possible that municipal corporation may end up not generating your bill, and there could be a lot of properties where bill is not generated, which essentially means that those properties are lying as orphans. Nobody knows that there are such properties in a particular locality or a municipality, but they are still not paying taxes. So it is quite possible the way systems have evolved over a period of time, the way essentially systems have been consolidated. There could be issues in terms of a lot of properties not being part of assessment itself. I think increasingly what we are seeing in one of the large states, I can name the state Rajasthan, which has been in the forefront of adopting analytics through their IT department across multiple areas. Now, the areas is commercial tax or GST, it could be mining, it could be transport. Multiple areas what they've done. Over a period of time, what they realized is that based on the benefits, revenue, what they could implement over a period of time, they felt that they need to have something called as State Directorate for Revenue Intelligence, or what we call it as Unified Revenue Intelligence. Now, what does it mean? Essentially, a state operates from the revenue department's perspective across multiple areas. One is GST, excise, IGRS, finance department, mining, transport. All these are the sources of revenue for a state government. But it is quite possible that there are a lot of relationships between each of these departments, and it is very important that we connect all this data so that we can understand the possibilities of increasing the revenue. Here is where we talk about State Directorate of Revenue Intelligence or Unified Intelligence, where we are essentially connecting and combining the data across multiple revenue departments so that we could essentially explore more possibilities in terms of generating more revenue. So to just give you an example, what is the use case? One use case is here where we're talking about identification of dealers paying mining royalty but not paying GST. Okay, this is something what we have seen in some of the states. Properties registered as commercial units with the registration department but not registration as business in GST database. So cross-linking these databases will be of immense use by virtue of state revenue intelligence department or state directorate of intelligence. Now, last theme, which is emerging, all the departments which I spoke about in terms of revenue are the gold mines of data. Okay. Apart from the revenue what they are generating, now increasingly what the state government departments are talking about is data monetization. Given that I'm holding so much of data, how can I make best out of it? One is essentially to earn money out of it by essentially selling that data. Second way to look at it is that how do I provide the data to the various stakeholders so that they can set up their units within that particular state. And that is what will bring a competitive or provide competitive intelligence to the state. So to just give an example how the data monetization works, here is where I'm taking an example of the state land records department or stamp registration department working along with the RERA, where they will have a complete understanding of what properties, residential, commercial, land, all of that is available, and who could be the users of this data apart from the department. The users of data could be real estate developers, real estate agents, citizens, banking, financial institutions, e-commerce. There are a whole host of entities who are waiting to essentially consume this particular data, not diverging the sensitive information associated with that. What we have seen at this point of time, we're working with 3 state government departments, but who wanted to explore and exploit this particular data, not just for realizing the revenue of this particular data, but giving this intelligence to various third parties so that they can set up their units here. So here is an example. The example what I mentioned is in terms of real estate, stamps and registration department, land records department. Giving that particular data to infra companies, giving the data to FMCG companies, where you will have a realization both in terms of direct and indirect benefits. Indirect benefit, of course, is employment. So, and giving the information with respect to e-commerce companies. So this scheme definitely is emerging quite a bit, given the kind of data that is lying with the state government department, more specifically the revenue earning departments. Just to conclude, how is SAS engaged with government departments, both state and central? We essentially operate across multiple departments, primarily to generate insights, so that government officers, IS officers, head of departments can take decisions. That's the most important aspect. When they take decisions, essentially, it primarily involves an impact, and that impact in the form of increasing revenue, in reducing costs, increasing the operational efficiency. So when we are talking about impact, I spoke predominantly around government. We also play heavily in public safety and criminal justice. We are working with multiple police departments where we generate around 5 form of smart transportation, which surface transport. We work along with federal agencies in different national security. We are working with Ayushman Bharat, where we primarily are engaging with NHA to leakage. We essentially work in that, and also we essentially work in education. So all in all, if you see, we are operating, we are working with multiple state and central government departments across multiple areas. One, of course, increasing revenue, decreasing cost, and third, of course, is generating operational efficiency and effectiveness. Now, I don't want to get into specifics in the interest of time, but what we see increasingly is that government departments, government are open to something what we call it as open data storage chain between the government departments, between taking the data from external world, giving the data to external world, which I mentioned in the form of data monetization, which is something which is very encouraging. Second, of course, is government departments are also increasingly comfortable to work on cloud, private cloud, public cloud, depending upon sensitivity of data. This is again is very interesting theme that is emerging in India. And increasingly, the questions that are being asked by any of the department heads who we interact with, their questions are on the outcomes. The questions is that how can we, or how can they generate citizen satisfaction, the end outcome in the form of operational efficiency and also safe and secure communities. This is very significant, and essentially we partner with state and central government departments to ensure these outcomes. Now, while SAS is a global company headquartered in US and in India, we operate out of Mumbai, Delhi, and Bangalore, and we have a large R&D center in Pune. Our experience of working with government is very significant. This is the government agriculture department. So if you look at the number of government departments who we are working globally, sorry. So we are working with more than 650 government departments across the globe, and majority of our revenue comes from government departments. So thanks a lot. If there are any questions, I have my colleagues who are sitting in the audience who can get in touch with. We are also available in the ground floor for any questions you have. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Radhakrishna, for that very insightful presentation. Mr. Krishna, to want you on the stage, I would request Mr. Dheeraj Rastogi, Senior Vice President, Goods and Services Network, Government of India, to kindly present a token of gratitude for Mr. Radhakrishna, a memento for Mr. Radhakrishna.
कहीं भी जहां पहुंच नहीं सकते आप उसको अपने असिस्टेंस के लिए ले जा सकते हैं, वहां आप ले जाके उससे काम करवा सकते हैं। तो मैं इसी शुरुआत के साथ मैं चूंकि मुझे चेयर करने कहा है तो मैं ये अनुरोध करूंगा हमारे को पैनलिस्ट से कि इस पे कुछ अपने विचार व्यक्त करें। थैंक
यू सिन्हा सर। सबसे पहले मैं सबको नमस्कार करना चाहूँगा। जैसा कि सिन्हा सर ने अपने बहुत ही पॉइनियर वर्क के बारे में कहा कि ड्रोन जब लीगल था और ड्रोन कोई उड़ा रहा है तो आदमी सबकी निगाह से देखता था कि वो कैसे उड़ा रहा है, कहाँ से खरीदा, या कितना ऊंचाई तक उड़ाएगा, या इसका मोटो क्या है, क्यों उड़ा रहा है। तो सबसे गवर्नमेंट में सबसे बड़ी चीज़ है, कोई भी ट्रैक से हटके अगर कोई काम करता है तो सबकी निगाह में आ जाता है, क्यों ये ट्रैक से हटके काम कर रहा है। एम आई राइट सर? तो इसी तरह से मैं जो मेरा करियर का स्टार्ट हुआ था, मैं इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ रिमोट सेंसिंग आपके देहरादून में ही है, वहाँ पे एज ए प्रोजेक्ट साइंटिस्ट था। इसके बाद अभी तो मैं नेशनल मिशन फॉर क्लीन गंगा मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ जल शक्ति में हूँ। तो जनरली जब हम ड्रोन या जितने भी हाई रेजोल्यूशन डेटा की जब नीड होती है तो हम हमारी कंट्री में आदत होती है हम डेटा जनरेट क्यों करें, हम डेटा डाउनलोड कर लें। जब हमें हाई रेजोल्यूशन डेटा गूगल अर्थ से दिखता है तो हम क्यों एनआरएससी से डेटा परचेज करें या किसी ड्रोन कंपनी से कहें कि इस डेटा को मैप करें। और इवन दो जितने हमारे डिसीजन मेकर्स होते हैं, प्रॉब्लम सिस्टम में नहीं है, प्रॉब्लम कहीं ना कहीं हम में भी है, उनमें भी है, सब में। सिस्टम में कहीं ना कहीं छोटा सा लैक रहता है कि जितने टेक्नोक्रेट्स हैं, जैसे हम जैसे इंजीनियर्स हैं या साइंटिस्ट हैं, अपने बॉस से, जो सीनियर बॉस है, आईएएस है, आईपीएस है, आईएफएस है, उनसे हम अपने टेक्नोलॉजी को खुल के नहीं बताते हैं कि इसके नुकसान क्या है, फायदे क्या हैं। हम कहते हैं साहब हम ये ले लें। और इस लेवल के जो ऑफिसर होते हैं, इनका माइंड इतना टैलेंट होता है कि इनका क्वेश्चन जो आता है वहीं हिट करता है जहां हम जवाब नहीं दे पाते हैं। अक्सर हम यही फेल हो जाते हैं। और इस लेवल के जो ऑफिसर होते हैं ये सब कॉन्फिडेंस चेक करते हैं, एम आई राइट सर, कि कितने कॉन्फिडेंस से बंदा बोल रहा है। अगर कॉन्फिडेंस है तो यस कर देंगे, अप्रूव कर देंगे, बहुत हराया तो रिजेक्ट भी कर देंगे। तो मुझे अपना वाक्य याद है कि हमारे यहाँ सेक्रेटरी सर यूपी सिंह सर हुआ करते थे, आईएएस आई थिंक 86 बैच के थे। तो उनके टाइम में पूरे गंगा की जो है लिडार मैपिंग करनी थी। तो मैंने प्रपोजल रखा कि सर गंगा की जो है एक लिडार मैपिंग होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि गंगा को लोग कहते हैं, और उत्तराखंड से ही गंगा निकलती है, और गंगा को लोग कहते हैं 2525 किलोमीटर है पूरे इंडिया में। मेरे माइंड में स्ट्राइक किया कि ये कोई मतलब रोड मिनिस्ट्री की कोई रोड तो है नहीं कि लेंथ फिक्स है, 2525 किलोमीटर की रोड है वही रिवर होगी। तो अब प्लस जो है जिस जमाने में कहा गया, उस जमाने में और आज के जमाने में इतना चेंज हो गया, हम क्यों ना ट्रैक को चेंज करें। तो मेरा पहला प्रपोजल यही था कि सर एक लिडार मैपिंग की जाए कंट्री में रिवर्स को लेकर के। तो मेरे जो सेक्रेटरी सर ने थे, उन्होंने पहले ये कहा कि तुम जितने भी उपाय बताते हो सारे कॉस्टली बताते हो, कोई भी सस्ता उपाय नहीं बताते हो। प्लस इसका ये क्यों हम ही क्यों करें, ये भी एक गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट आता है, ये काम हम ही क्यों करें, ये तो डिजास्टर डिपार्टमेंट का काम है, स्पेस डिपार्टमेंट का काम है, क्यों वाटर रिसोर्स मिनिस्ट्री करे। लेकिन वाटर रिसोर्स में, हाइड्रोलॉजी में, हाइड्रोडायनेमिक्स में सबसे पहला जो इनपुट होता है, साइंटिफिक इनपुट होता है, वो डिजिटल एलिवेशन मॉडल ही होता है। और डिजिटल एलिवेशन मॉडल डाउनलोड करना बड़ा इजी होता है सर, बट जनरेट करना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है। ये हम लोगों ने जब भुवन जनरेट हुआ था और भारत मैप्स आया था, उस समय हम लोगों ने सीखा कि डेटा बनाना मुश्किल है, डेटा डाउनलोड करना, डेटा चोरी करना, डेटा कॉपी करना बहुत इजी है। तो ड्रोन जब से आया है तब से एक और चेंज आया है। पहले तो हमने इमेजरीज में, जीआईएस में, टेक्नोलॉजी में कदम रखा, और जब ड्रोन आने से क्या हो रहा है कि एक ट्रांसपेरेंसी आ रही है गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर में खुद। रिवर सेक्टर में बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स है जो कि हम माइन्यूटली ऑब्जर्व नहीं कर पाते हैं। तो इनिशियल नोट के साथ मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा, ड्रोन के आने से उन एरियाज पे भी लाइट पड़ा है जिन एरियाज को हम जो है महीनों टाइम टाइम लगता था, बट उस पे वो चीज निकल के नहीं आती थी। बहुत सारे एनजीटी केस हैं जो कि हम अपना ऑब्जर्वेशन नहीं दे पाते थे। तो ड्रोन आने के बाद से प्लस जो है ड्रोन में भी बहुत सारे लिमिटेशंस हैं, प्रो हैं, कॉन्स हैं, हमें उनको भी थोड़ा सा हाईलाइट करना है। प्लस ड्रोन का एप्लीकेशन इतना है कि अभी हमने उतना कहीं लिस्ट आउट नहीं किया है। हमें जनरली बस पता लगता है कि थोड़ा एविएशन में है, थोड़ा डिफेंस में है, बट वाटर रिसोर्स में भी, रिवर रिसोर्स में भी इसका एप्लीकेशन इतना है कि अभी भी आप लोग की भी पहुंच वहां नहीं हो रही है। मैं आप सबसे गुजारिश करूंगा आप लोग भी अपने एप्लीकेशन को और इनहेंस करें। थैंक यू सर, ओवर टू यू।
मैं ये चाहूँ कि पहले अपना इंट्रोडक्शन भी थोड़ा
Okay, yes, 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 sure, sure. Good evening, everyone. I am Saurabh Gua Thakurta here, General Manager and Chief Information Officer from Webel, Kolkata. In fact, it's a privilege for me to be a part of this particular prestigious event, and I am the only one, I think, from Kolkata here representing the government of West Bengal. So thank you, the organized government of Uttarakhand and all the particular distinguished guests who are present here. And it's a privilege for me to be a part of this drone discussion. In fact, I really which is a real-time data which is coming, there is more accuracy, more clarity on that. So that is how you can do the analytics on the pre and the post-disaster management. Now, Uttarakhand, basically, here also Ganga flows. Even in Kolkata and West Bengal, Ganga flows. So, you must have heard about the Ganga Sagar Mela. Like we have it is the second largest footfall after the Kumbh Mela. So from Haridwar, Nasik, I feel really privileged and taken through a technical partner of us for doing the Ganga Sagar entire surveillance of in this particular, not this Ganga Sagar Mela, since the last 3-4 years. We have been doing it. So I am not sure what happens in Kumbh Mela out here, but I'll just share with you some of the vital experience which we had done for in Ganga Sagar. So there we had, we had set up a integrated command control center wherein the data directly, whatever the drone captures, directly it is around, this Ganga Sagar is around 118 kilometers from Kolkata. It is a particular meeting of Ganga River and the sea itself. So, because of the COVID times and the pandemic times, that time what happened, we had taken a lot of security and surveillance for ensuring that the crowdfunding, the alertness, everything, there is gathering of the crowd, how the particular drone will capture the data and all those things were taken into consideration. It was 100 Mbps internet bandwidth. The direct feed which was coming with the drone, we had generally kept around, around micro drones. So that was around 2 kg and all. So 12 particular drones were surrounding the entire vicinity of the Ganga Sagar, and there the picture was captured. The data was directly flowing to the control room. And it was a real-time data which was captured and getting, so the entire thing was kept under vigilance. Our Honorable CM, the district magistrate had visited there, and they had really appreciated how the work has been done, keeping in view the entire security surveillance. And believe me, because of the COVID times, what we did for the devotees was, we sprinkled sanitizers from the particular drone. We had made through the drone public announcement system. From the drone itself, we had also created banners. So various sort of aspects were taken care of in order to ensure that there is no spread out of any particular, epidemic. Because of there was COVID was trying to go off, but obviously we had to take immediate and precautionary measures so that, because it was very vulnerable to COVID that time. So those things we had definitely taken care of, and we had kept various small drones out there. Each particular thing, for whichever words I told you about the services, we had taken utmost care of them. And but last but not the least, what I would like to say, we had kept a Titha drone out there. Titha drone is what? Generally a particular drone is around 20 minutes to 30 minutes. It generally is in the air. But Titha drone, if you connect it to the power backup, it will be constantly out there. So those sort of particular aspect we had taken care of. So I think I have given a lot about the Ganga Sagar Mela. Now coming to Uttarakhand also here, I find that since Bengal is also prone to a lot, storm, lot of problems, issues related to coastal areas. So there are Digha, Amta, there are a lot of districts out there, which is a very vulnerable districts. So here also, there are a lot of terrains and all. So I believe what rightly pointed out by sir, if Sinha sir, if there is a particular drone which is manued here over particular in Uttarakhand, there will be a tremendous way of boom in order to ensure that the disaster can be averted. So I will definitely share my experience with sir in an offline mode, but definitely I would like to I hope I have already given you context exactly what is the particular way by which we can really make drone more revolutionized. So this is all from my end. I will really hand over the mic to my colleague. Thank you.
थैंक यू। अभी हमारे दो पैनलिस्ट ने काफी अच्छी बातें कही। पहले तो मैं आपका श्याम बिहारी तो मैं छोटा सा कहना चाहूंगा कि क्योंकि आपका जो अनुभव है अधिकारियों से टेक्नोक्रेट या साइंटिस्ट का जो इंटरेक्शन होता है, तो मैं ये बता दूं कि मुझे ऐसा लगता है और बल्कि प्रूवन भी है कि नोबेल प्राइज ही वही साइंटिस्ट जीतता है जो अपनी साइंटिस्ट कम्युनिटी का सबसे shrewd आदमी होता है। उसको सिस्टम को निकाल के चलना आता है। वो सिर्फ लैब में कमरे में बैठ के काम नहीं करता है, उसको लोगों को कन्विंस करना आता है, उसकी कम्युनिकेशन स्किल अच्छी होती है, उसमें कुछ ना कुछ बाकी साइंटिस्ट से एज होता है। तो आप मानने वाला अगर मान गया तो आपका तो फिर चैलेंज बेकार है। मानने वाला अगर बहुत इंटेलिजेंट है, वो बहुत अच्छा है, तो चीजें हो जाएंगी, लेकिन आपकी प्रतिभा कब निखरेगी? जब आप अपने में उस कैपेबिलिटी को भी नहीं इनहेरिट करोगे, इम्बाइब करोगे, ग्रो कराओगे, चेरिश कराओगे। तो आई थिंक ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि जिसको आप पैशनेटली पीछे पड़े हो, उसके साथ उसकी सिर्फ आप उस चीज को जानने के लिए मत रहो, उसको दुनिया में कैसे फैलाना है उस पर भी बात करो। मतलब अगर आप कहिएगा तो हमारा जो इंडस्ट्रियल रिवोल्यूशन था वो प्लेटो के समय हो जाता, सोक्रेटिस के समय हो जाता, लेकिन क्यों नहीं हुआ? क्योंकि उस समय, या इवन हिंदुस्तान में देख लीजिए, हमारे यहाँ श्रुति स्मृति पे सब कुछ चलती रही, किसी को बताना नहीं, किसी को बताना नहीं, कानों से कान बातें चलेंगी। तो ऐसे कन्विंस करना, चीजों को पॉपुलराइज करना, एंटरप्राइज मोड में लाना और दुनिया को उसकी यूटिलिटी बताना कि व्हाट इज बेस्ट, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो मैं इसके साथ नेक्स्ट पैनलिस्ट को मनोज उपाध्याय जी।
So good evening, everyone. My name is Manas Upadhyay, and I'm the Chief Technology Officer for D-Town Robotics. So basically, we are a Uttarakhand-based startup. We started back in 2018. जिस टाइम पे ये चीज़ें बहुत ही जनरल कॉन्टेक्स्ट में थी, और उस टाइम पे वो था कि एक ब्रेक इवन एरा आ रहा था कि अब ये चीज़ें एकदम से बूम करेंगी। So we initially started our research back in 2013. तो 13 से हम लोग इन चीज़ों के ऊपर काम कर रहे थे। So we and my partner actually dedicated all of our studies also into the same domain. So we actually came in contact with sir back in 2018 only, और जहाँ सर ने हम लोगों को गाइड भी किया उस चीज़ के ऊपर कि how we can actually push ourselves into this industry. The actual limelight came for us when we actually delivered the first telemedicine robot to AIIMS New Delhi back in 2020 at the time of COVID. So उसकी प्रोसेस होने के बाद we were actually appointed India's first tender in terms of anti-locust operations which was happened in India. So we became the very first company to do those through drones, and to actually counteract, India became the very first country to do those things through drones all over the world. So वहाँ से हमारी जर्नी स्टार्ट हुई. So initially we started by doing some OEM products, and then जब हमारे प्रॉपर गाइडेंस मिली, so in 2021 we started our own manufacturing facility. So currently we are right now a customized solution provider in terms of drones and robotic solutions. So we generally make our solutions for agriculture and defense. So हमारी कंपनी का जो मोटो है वो जय जवान जय किसान है, और उसी के अंडर पे हम लोग अपने सारे प्रोडक्ट्स को डेवलप करते हैं. So when I talk about products, I'm not talking about a single hardware. What we do is we design the hardware, integrate it with a good working software, and add the analytics. So basically अब क्या है, पहले के टाइम पे ये था कि if somebody is seeing a drone flying, तो it was miraculous. Reason being कि nobody has seen that machine flying. But up now the trend had changed into the application part on how these things can be utilized. So right now there are n number of applications which can be actually catered through drones. Namely, you can do much amount of analytics into agriculture. You can do a lot of work into disaster management and analytics in terms of carrying the logistics. You can do a good amount of work over surveys, and you can do a good work over securities. So ये जो 4 domains हैं, इसके अंदर ही सब primarily domains आ जाते हैं उसके बाद. And the actual motive, or you can say the actual objective for us, is to actually tell people that robotics will never make people jobless. It is something which has been created to assist people and to actually enhance their performance. So basically drones और robots जब मार्केट में आएंगे, अभी भी एडवेंट है, अभी भी बहुत पेस से इन चीज़ों को आगे बढ़ाया जा रहा है, लेकिन जब एक ऐसा पीक आएगा, जैसे हम लोगों ने सॉफ्टवेयर के साथ देखा है, जब ऐसा पीक ड्रोन्स एंड रोबोट्स के साथ आएगा, तो दैट विल बी एक्चुअली एनहांसिंग द परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ द पर्सन हु इज वर्किंग विद इट, नॉट किलिंग देयर जॉब्स. So that is our actual vision. और हम लोग देखते हैं कि आने वाले 3 से 4 साल में हम लोग ड्रोन्स और रोबोटिक्स की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडस्ट्री में एक अच्छा नाम होंगे। और अभी सारे मेंटर्स एंड सपोर्ट्स हम लोग के साथ हैं। तो अभी हम लोग ये प्लान कर रहे हैं कि जब प्योर उत्तराखंड में ही सारी चीज़ें बन सकती हैं तो क्यों ना उन चीज़ों की सर्विसेज को भी यहीं स्टार्ट किया जाए, ताकि इट शुड बी लाइक इट इज आत्मनिर्भर भारत, सो इट्स टाइम फॉर बीइंग आत्मनिर्भर उत्तराखंड ऑल्सो। थैंक यू सो मच।
एक चीज ऐड करना चाहूंगा कि डी टाउन रोबोटिक्स अगर देखा है तो शुरुआती तौर पे हम लोगों को एक सहयोगी की तरह मिला। जब डीआरसी हम लोगों ने शुरू किया तो वी वर एक्चुअली लुकिंग फॉर ड्रोन स्टार्टअप्स। There were many in the field, but D-Town was actually promising, and they have started with very good this thing. They all were students. You passed out from Graphic Era. Graphic Era की incubation center से ये लोग निकले। मुझे तो आश्चर्य होता है इनको देखते, मुझे तो अभी लगता है स्टूडेंट्स हैं। और आप बिलीव नहीं करेंगे, दे आर द फर्स्ट स्टार्टअप जो हमारा टेंडर जीते हैं। अब तक कोई स्टार्टअप को टेंडर नहीं मिलता है, ये हमारा सरकारी टेंडर जीत के बैठे हुए बगल में मेरे। मतलब हमने अपने टेंडर कंडीशन को रिलैक्स किया इनके लिए। मतलब मेरे ख्याल से कई गवर्नमेंट के लिए बहुत मुश्किल होता है। वी ऑल सिटिंग जो गवर्नमेंट में काम करते हैं वो सब समझ सकते हैं इस चीज को, ये रिलैक्स करना कि स्टार्टअप को भी हम काम दे सकते हैं, बहुत मुश्किल होता है। तो फॉर्चुनेटली डी टाउन ने वो किया। और मैं जैसे अपने अब तो काफी काम कर रहे हैं आप, और मतलब मुझे जो लगता है कि आपका मेन रोल है, हमारी पूरी डीआरसी की मैन पावर को मैनेज कर रहे हैं आप लोग और एक दिशा दे रहे हैं, इसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। बल्कि मैं थोड़ा इसमें ये ऐड करूंगा कि आप जो अभी कह रहे थे कि ड्रोन से जॉब की कमी होगी, यहाँ पे चूंकि आप काफी यंग हो, हमारे जनरेशन के लोग इमेजिन कर सकते हैं जब कंप्यूटर आया था तो ये कहते थे कि जॉब सारे खा जाएगा, और आज ये हालत है कि सब जगह जॉब डबल हो चुकी है, डबल ट्रिपल हो चुकी है। तो वो एक समय था। तो एनीवे, नेक्स्ट स्पीकर पीयूष जी। विवेक गुप्ता, आप ड्रोन के फ्यूचर प्रोस्पेक्ट से प्लीज बताइए।
बिल्कुल। वेरी गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन। पहले मैं अपने बारे में आपको इंट्रोड्यूस करूंगा। माय नेम इज विवेक गुप्ता, फाउंडर एंड सीईओ ऑफ मार्क्सऑफ्ट टेक्नोलॉजीज प्राइवेट लिमिटेड। ये कंपनी 21 साल पुरानी कंपनी है एंड वी आर मेजरली वर्किंग विद गवर्नमेंट सेगमेंट। और गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट में हम लोगों ने 21 साल में बहुत प्रोजेक्ट्स किए हैं और काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स किए हैं, कई अवार्ड्स भी हमने विन किए हैं। मैं अभी एक ड्रोन से रिलेटेड एक छोटा सा एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करूंगा। रिसेंटली लास्ट 2-3 सालों में जब से ये कोविड आया तो हमने माइनिंग डिपार्टमेंट के लिए काम किया। माइनिंग के कई सारे केसेस हमने स्टडी किए और हम लोग ने डे बाय डे उनकी प्रॉब्लम को एनालाइज किया और सोल्यूशन देते चले गए। आज की डेट में लगभग 8-10 सोल्यूशंस हमने माइनिंग के लिए दिए हैं, जिसमें सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट जिसको अभी ई गवर्नेंस अवार्ड भी मिला इसी साल, दैट इज स्मार्ट एनफोर्समेंट सिस्टम। हमने एक चेक गेट क्रिएट किया है जिससे कि माइनिंग के जो एनॉमलीज हैं, अवैध खनन है, उनको कैसे रोका जाए। और वो उसके लिए हमने एक अनमैन्ड सिस्टम तैयार किया, अनमैन्ड गेट तैयार किया है, जहां पर किसी व्यक्ति की होने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। उस सिस्टम के थ्रू आने वाली व्हीकल को हम रिकॉग्नाइज करते हैं थ्रू आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, उनमें क्या मिनरल है उसको हम रिकॉग्नाइज करते हैं थ्रू एआई, और गाड़ी के नंबर को थ्रू एएनपीआर सिस्टम हम रिकॉग्नाइज करते हैं। और इससे हमें ये पता चलता है कि वो गाड़ी वाला या खनन करने वाला डॉक्यूमेंट्स प्रॉपर्ली ले जा रहा है कि नहीं, डॉक्यूमेंट्स एक्सपायर तो नहीं कर गए, डॉक्यूमेंट्स वैलिड है कि नहीं। क्योंकि माइनिंग इंडस्ट्री में स्पेशली इन उत्तर प्रदेश 30% जो लॉसेज हैं, पिल्फरेज हैं या चोरी है, वो डॉक्यूमेंट न कैरी करने की है। तो उसमें हम लोगों ने काफ़ी रेवेन्यू डिपार्टमेंट को दिया है। जब हमने माइनिंग को स्टडी किया तो देखा कि लाइक एक चोरी है डॉक्यूमेंट्स की, दूसरी है ओवरलोडिंग की, तीसरी चीज़ थी जिस पर अब हम लोगों ने काम शुरू किया जहाँ ड्रोन को इन्वॉल्व करने वाले हैं। नॉर्मली माइंस होते हैं तो कई सारे माइंस होते हैं, पूरे एरिया में बात करें, स्टेट में कई सारे माइंस होते हैं। अब क्या होता है कि एक माइन किसी ए व्यक्ति को मिला है, किसी बी को दूसरा माइन मिला हुआ है, बट वो अपने एरिया के बाहर भी खनन करते हैं, तो वो भी एक बहुत बड़ा अवैध खनन है। तो अब इसको कैसे प्रोटेक्ट करते हैं हम लोग, ये हम ऑल द टाइम वॉच तो कर नहीं सकते कौन बंदा क्या कर रहा है। तो इसके लिए हम लोगों ने एक केस स्टडी तैयार करी और एक सोल्यूशन तैयार किया, जिसमें हमने सारे माइंस को जियो रेफरेंस लेकर, जियो कोऑर्डिनेट्स लेकर उनका पॉलीगन तैयार किया। पॉलीगन तैयार करने के बाद उसका एक शेप हमें मिल गया। अब ड्रोन के माध्यम से हम पूरा का पूरा डेटा एनालिसिस करते हैं कि आज इस खनन की, इस खदान की क्या पोजीशन थी और फिर कल क्या है। तो इस इमेज को हम लोग एनालिसिस करने के बाद हम उनको अलर्ट्स नोटिफिकेशन दे देते हैं कि ये बंदा अपने एरिया से बाहर भी खनन कर रहा है। तो जो ड्रोन का इस्तेमाल, अगर जैसा कि सबने बताया, अमित सर ने बात करी कि नो डाउट इट्स अ नेक्स्ट जनरेशन टेक्नोलॉजी, जहां पर आप नेम एनी डिपार्टमेंट, एग्रीकल्चर का नाम ले, आप स्प्रे कर सकते हैं फर्टिलाइजर्स, पेस्टिसाइड्स। आप हेल्थ केयर का नाम ले, यूएस में ब्लड सैंपल लिए जा रहे हैं ड्रोन के थ्रू, टेस्ट करा रहे हैं। आप ट्रांसपोर्ट का नाम लें तो ट्रैफिक का हम कंजेशन सारा कुछ पता कर सकते हैं। तो देयर सो मेनी एप्लीकेशन इन वेरियस सेगमेंट। तो माइनिंग में हम लोगों ने जो इस्तेमाल किया है वो रियल टाइम शुरू कर दिया है सर, अभी जस्ट हम लोगों ने स्टार्ट किया है, और उसमें हमने सारा कुछ कवर किया है। वॉल्यूम एनालिसिस, वॉल्यूमेट्रिक एनालिसिस, उसका मिनरल मैपिंग, जो आज की डेट में नंबर ऑफ माइंस लोकेट करना हम डीएसआर के थ्रू सर्वे कराते हैं, पता करते हैं। तो इसके थ्रू हम लोग एनालिसिस कर लेते हैं कि रिवर बेल्ट पे कितनी माइंस हो सकती हैं, जिससे हम गवर्नमेंट को एक आइडिया भी दे देते हैं कि भाई बालू की ये खदानें हो सकती हैं जिनको आप प्लान कर सकते हो। तो नंबर ऑफ माइंस हम बढ़ाते हैं, मिनरल मैपिंग कर रहे हैं, वॉल्यूमेट्रिक एनालिसिस कर रहे हैं, और सबसे बड़ी बात इलीगल माइनिंग को रोक रहे हैं। तो ये सारी चीजें कहीं ना कहीं रेवेन्यू दे रहा है गवर्नमेंट को और बेनिफिट दे रहा है। एंड द बेस्ट पार्ट, एक आज की डेट में जो जैसा कि बताया, इतने एक्यूरेट डेटा में मिलने लगे हैं कि हम उसके बेसिस पे कुछ भी प्रेडिक्ट कर सकते हैं और जेन्युइन रिजल्ट हासिल कर सकते हैं, और बहुत फास्ट इसका एक्शन होता है। तो जैसा कि आज की डेट में ड्रोन पे इतने लोग काम कर रहे हैं, ड्रोन टेक्नोलॉजी सब समझ रहे हैं, सब जान रहे हैं कि लाइक इट्स अ यूवी अनमैन्ड एरियल व्हीकल, जो सारा कुछ डेटा कलेक्ट करके एनालिसिस करके डिपेंडिंग अपॉन डिपार्टमेंट्स सेट रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन हम उसे आउटकम दे रहे हैं। तो ड्रोन का इस्तेमाल हर सेगमेंट में, और हमने माइनिंग में इस्तेमाल किया है और अच्छा खासा रेवेन्यू जनरेट किया है। और ड्रोन को छोड़कर अभी जो हमने चेक गेट्स लगाए हैं, सिर्फ सर हमने 6 महीने के अंदर 80 करोड़ के नोटिस जनरेट किए हैं और 30 करोड़ रुपए हमने उनको दिलाया है। और मुझे लगता है ये ड्रोन्स टेक्नोलॉजी ऐड करने के बाद यही फिगर डबल हो जाएगी, बिकॉज वो खनन कहीं ज्यादा है इससे, तो हम उनको रोक सकते हैं। थैंक यू सो मच।
एक पॉइंट मैं ये ऐड करना चाहूंगा, आपने जैसे कहा कई बार ऐसा होता है, आप देखिएगा लोग आपसे पूछेंगे इससे फायदा कितना होगा, मैं इस ड्रोन को माइनिंग में लगा दूंगा, क्या फायदा होगा, ये तो मैं देख के भी कर सकता हूं, मैं सीसीटीवी से कर लूंगा, मैं किसी तरह से कर लूंगा। मतलब आपको वो ड्रोन, मतलब किसी भी नई तकनीक को सिस्टम में इंट्रोड्यूस करने में बहुत कष्ट होता है, मतलब वो जो थ्रेशोल्ड लेवल क्रॉस कराना बहुत जरूरी है। शुरुआत में जब कंप्यूटर आया था तो मुझे याद है कि मैं उस समय अपने ऑफिस स्टाफ को बोला था कि सॉलिटेयर का कंपटीशन कराते हैं, 2001 की बात है। मैं एसपी टिहरी था और मैंने कहा कि हमारे ऑफिस में सारे टाइपराइटर मैंने बंद करा दिए, मैंने कहा या तो हाथ से लिख के लाओ या कंप्यूटर टाइप कर लो। तो कंप्यूटर का मैं कंपटीशन कराया, सॉलिटेयर गेम सबसे अच्छा कौन खेलेगा। तो मेरा कहने का मतलब है कि हमें कहीं ना कहीं इनोवेट करना पड़ेगा सिस्टम टेक्नोलॉजी को अडॉप्ट करने के लिए, क्योंकि कई बार क्या होता है गवर्नमेंट का किसी भी सिस्टम में एक इनोवेशन होता है कि भाई मैं तो देख के तो पता लग रहा है मुझे कि ये ट्रक पे इतना माल जा रहा है, निकल रहा है, अगर मैं ट्रक पता लग जाएगा तो मुझे वॉल्यूम पता लग जाएगा। लेकिन वो ये नहीं समझ पाते कि कल को वो जो टन में चोरी पकड़ रहे हैं, मैं ढोलता ड्रोन से किलो में चोरी पे ले आऊं, तो वो जो डेल्टा डिफरेंस है वो एक्चुअली फोर्स ही नहीं कर पा रहे। द बेनिफिट विच यू मे गेट इज बेसिकली नॉट इवन थॉट ऑफ। तो वो चीज लानी जरूरी है। तभी मैं बार बार कह रहा हूं कि हमारे सिस्टम में कहीं ना कन्विंस करने वालों की भी टीम होनी चाहिए, सिर्फ सोल्यूशन बनाने वालों की टीम नहीं, जो लोग सही तरह से सही फोरम में चीजों को कन्विंस कर सके। प्लीज।
Good evening to all of you. I'm SB Singh, GM Beltron. Prior to joining Beltron, I just 5 months back I joined Beltron. Prior to that, I was in NIC almost around 33 years. After retirement, I joined Beltron. I was there in UP. I was there in Bihar also, the state in charge. And UP was my longer tenure from 2001 to 14. Then I was Delhi. So actually, thanks to Chair and given this opportunity. This topic is rightly chosen by Uttarakhand government and Elets. I really thank them because it's technology of tomorrow. Drone actually is going to be happening in all the states and e-government process. And I've seen how things have moved the value chain for e-governance. When we talk of e-governance around 5 years back, 10 years back, That time actually governance was actually delivery of service to the public. So mostly like treasury computation, GIS, I mean that kind of the VAT system or something. So just reaching out to the public and e-seva kind of thing. So now that part is there, but you have to now can't limit into this. But suddenly that time actually also we are having GIS technology. So but that adoption was a special technology was not up to the level because the quality of the special technology was not to there and AI was not there. So when analytical powers are not there. So now this combination of GIS, AI, and analytical power of the today is happening in the industry, and now the drone also a new thing because prior to that actually depend on ISRO to get satellite imagery data and making analysis. Very rare experts. NIC we had one being struggling very hard to make analysis, and that kind of resolution power is so bad. So you can't make head or tail of that. Except that you get subspace information that what is in town planning something. But coming to that accuracy level, drone has made reform because the accuracy power has really and camera power has gone now. CCTV, everything now is and now things are really happening technology. So drone uses that kind of camera feature, and AI is the backend supporting that kind of thing. So now it's a made a kind of future our it's a plan, and it's a the topic today because all of you should learn from here because some experts we are the user of that technology. And I don't think that I know much about the technology because all the through life I've just spent as e-governance thing. And but still I can say that because in Bihar also we are actually that drone, we are using it for our liquor is banned in, all of you know, very widely being used. Liquor is banned. So once you ban anything, when any kind of restriction you put, so people do some backfire mechanism like say, you were talking about mining system in Bihar, Uttar Pradesh. So same thing, liquor is banned in Bihar. So actually, the illicit liquors are being manufactured somewhere or the other. So we have all our excise commissioner and the entire team is actually manually knowing what is happening, how people are still liquors are available. Sometimes illicit liquor, people die. Sometimes complain. It's a motto of the banning liquor. The chief minister, the real vision, reduction of your crime is happening. It's a road accident are going down. And still, some people are not very happy, but actually, maybe government is losing revenue. But still, it's one of the very good reform happening in Bihar, and it's going to be a lesson for all people. And still, sometimes happening, that people, the young group or something, village areas, manufacturing is happening. So we have deployed drone technology, and it's being monitored. And a lot of people have been. Actually, I didn't get the figure because actually I was not knowing that my topic is today is like drone. But it's a lot of, we have catched hold of many illegal manufacturing centers in village areas because it's manually not possible for you to identify what is happening. So, and then all members are saying that, road, happening like on roadside or traffic management or when a disaster management like Bihar actually is prone to disaster, where floods are happening. So actually how much damage has done to the crop and assessment of this thing, everything become now with that accuracy, we can able to point out that the farmer, land recording computerized, so you can map the image of drone happening. And you can able to identify, pinpoint how much money to be given. Actually, I mean, knowing that Bihar, UP was there, for long time, disaster group is there, management group. But then really the compensation going by the government is really reaching the farmer. It's very difficult because some money gets siphoned because you don't know what is happening. So some political people, because of data loss, some data is not available. So it's always you found that some people manipulate and they say my crop has damage, so please give me that much of money. And actually, the farmer who has really suffered from that kind of disaster or the fire, flood or something, they don't get the money. So now this is be the right technology to deploy into the field, and you can able to make assessment with the mapping of that satellite data, drone data, and as well that land record information. So this combination can able to make lot of change. And he says now the delivery of service will happen from that database to the special information. And he said tomorrow technology, and it's a good thing that today we have been deliberated. Thanks to the government that actually that kind of event in this session they have focused more onto the drone technology, and certainly this will be now the new technology we should discuss. All IT people, experts, and the domain experts in this field should work together and make things happen. The new technology, adoption of new technology should be propagated to the last mile level. So that kind of is going to yield benefit once the user, all of you, those who are using the technology, or maybe you are the part of e-governance, maybe some government level you have been working as an employee, is how to use the technology. You can learn from here and you can adopt into your state or maybe your department. So Thank you very much.
So from starting from Ganga Sagar, crowd mapping to what he said, even illegal excise or illegal liquor mapping, mining, and as you said, the riverbed lidar mapping. So we have the whole galaxy of usage of drones sitting here. So now, do we have time for some question answers or no? No interaction. We have a time for interaction also. So I think it would be better that some of you can ask us something which is actually regarding something which we have done or anything the crowd thinks. या तो किसी को पूछना नहीं है तो किसी को कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. ऐसे ड्रोन ऐसा फील्ड है कि इसके बारे में नहीं ऐसा नहीं है. पूछना चाहते होंगे. मेनली क्या है कि एक शाम का टाइम होता है ना, उसके बाद फिर लोग सुस्त हो जाते हैं, तो वो टाइम है. चाय कॉफी ठीक नहीं होगी उसे, कॉफी पीने का टाइम नहीं मिला होगा. Sure.
In fact, I just wanted to share with you that considering the demand which is going on in the drone area in the state of Bengal, we are also collaborating with government of West Bengal and also various other stakeholders to form a drone training academy in the state of Bengal. Because drone training academy is very, very limited in scope. Very few you will find drone training academy. I will just name some of the particular courses which we are definitely going to highlight in the training academy. One is the CAT1, CAT2 and CAT3, multi-rotor, hybrid or fixed wing. This is basically depending upon the size of the drone, the CAT1, CAT2, CAT3 category is designed. So until unless you complete the CAT1 training, you cannot pass on to the CAT2 or CAT3. Then we have drone operation and management. That is basically you are looking for the control checks and measures in the ground, how drone will operate, how much altitude the drone is going to fly, considering the capacity and so on and so forth. Then we have the advanced certification in 3D mapping and mapping, after which we will do the particular analytics on that. Then we have the drone surveillance. Drone surveillance means in the sense, in a nutshell, that in case if the drone is flying high, it should not cross over to some other country. So we keep a track on that it should not cross. So that is the training we should also give towards the drone surveillance. Then comes the autonomous flight. So when we just fly over a drone, we have the drone wing points or the drone waypoints. So one drone is being controlled and it goes to another point, and then from there it goes to another point. So that check and control has to be done through the autonomous flight. Then we have the fixed wing designing in order to ensure the efficiency of the drone. We generally we have seen drones which are very much majority are the quadrocopters, but you will find a lot of drones are there which are having a wing with them. So that is basically to conserve or make the energy used more efficiently. Then we have the certificate in drone crash investigation. So like when a particular plane crashes, it has a black box. Similarly, for a drone, it also has something, a sort of a black box, which we also need why it has crashed, and the investigation courses are being looked into. Then we have the multi-roster and the fixed wing engineering courses. So I thought, let me share with you that this is one of the things which we also plan to innovate in the state of Bengal. This also can be replicated, and obviously, if Sir agrees, we can do it in Uttarakhand state also.
Actually, we have a drone training academy since 2018, and we have trained almost 1,100 people, including people of DGCA. In fact, the whole course designed by DGCA was designed by us. We have a training center here by the name of Drone Applications. It's good that Bengal also has this type of academy, and what we are planning, that we are planning academy in every district of Uttarakhand. So maybe by the end of this year, we would be having 13 training center. In fact, we have also applied for remote RPTO for our drone, so that the registered pilot can be passed out from this place. We have trained, in fact, our focus is to train more and more polytechnic students. Because, so more and more people can get jobs and employments. So I think it's almost over from our side. If nobody wants to speak anything else, please.
मेरा एक ड्रोन के स्टार्टअप लोग से थोड़ा सा अनुरोध ये है कि जनरली ड्रोन तो एक व्हीकल हो गया, बट हमारे सेंसर्स की डिमांड भी होती है। जनरली हमें हमेशा मल्टी स्पेक्ट्रल की नीड नहीं होती है, कभी थर्मल की होती है, कभी हाइपर स्पेक्ट्रल की होती है, क्योंकि हर सेक्टर में अलग अलग उसका एप्लीकेशन है। तो जनरली जो जिस सेक्टर में वो एप्लीकेशन चल जाता है हम सारे उसी की तरफ जाते हैं। ये बहुत सारा एप्लीकेशन, जैसे अभी शायद गुप्ता जी ने बताया कि सैंड माइनिंग में उनका ड्रोन बहुत एप्लीकेशन है। वहीं एक डिपार्टमेंट जो है सैंड माइनिंग में एनजीटी के इशू को लेकर झेलता है, प्रॉपर नहीं होते हैं। फिर हर बार जो है हमें जो है सर्वेइंग करानी पड़ती है। जब इस तरह का एक सिस्टम है तो शेयरिंग होनी चाहिए। डेटा कुछ जो डेटा ऑलरेडी एक्वायर हो चुका है वो भी किसी एक आर्काइव, गवर्नमेंट के आर्काइवल पे अगर वो हो, क्योंकि हर बार रिपीटेटिव टेम्पोरल डेटा की भी नीड होती है, कहीं वहाँ पे भी अगर स्टोर हो तो वो भी कुछ लोग के लिए नीड में आ सकता है, जैसे बहुत सारे रिसर्चर्स के लिए हैं। इवन तो हम लोग अपने भी मिनिस्ट्री में वाटर बॉडी की मैपिंग कर रहे हैं ड्रोन से, तो बहुत सारा इंक्रोचमेंट वेटलैंड में है, सैंड माइनिंग में है, बहुत सारी आजकल मैपिंग, मतलब इवन तो माइक्रोजोन में, मतलब बैक्टीरिया तक की मैपिंग जो आजकल ड्रोन से हो रही है, नीरी के साथ हम वो भी कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि कहा जाता है गंगा में बैक्टीरियोफेज है, तो उसकी भी जीनोम सिक्वेंसिंग करा करके सबकी मैपिंग जीआईएस प्लेटफॉर्म पे हम लोग ले आ रहे हैं। तो एम्पल ऑफ एप्लीकेशन है ड्रोन का, बस हमें सेंसर बढ़ाने हैं, ट्रस्ट बढ़ाने हैं, डेटा शेयरिंग करनी है, कुछ हाइड नहीं करना है। कुछ गलत भी जनरली क्या होता है कि हमारे में कमी है वो भी हम नहीं बताते हैं, उसको मतलब डिलीवर कर देते हैं, ये हमारी चीज लीजिए आप, पर कमी है तो उसको भी हम शेयर करें। थैंक यू।
एक्चुअली इसमें एक ऐड करूंगा, उत्तराखंड ने हमें एक डार्क लेक शुरू किया, डीएआरसी का लेक। डीएआरसी लेक में हम उत्तराखंड में सारे ड्रोन पायलट्स को 1 टेराबाइट का स्पेस देते हैं डेटा सेंटर में, जिसपे आप अपना डेटा लोड कर सकते हैं और उस डेटा को हम लोग फिर यूज कर सकते हैं। गवर्नमेंट के प्रोजेक्ट्स के वो कंटिन्यूअसली मॉनिटरिंग कर सकते हैं, उसकी वहां पे वीडियो डंप होगा और उस डेटा को हम लोग फिर लेटर यूज कर सकते हैं।
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot for that very enriching panel discussion. Let me invite on the stage, we have with us one guest, Mr. Suhendu Sinha, Advisor Infrastructure, Mobility and Connectivity, Niti Aayog, Government of India. Mr. Suhendu Sinha will be handing the speaker mementos to all these esteemed panelists here, starting from our program co-chair, Shri Amit Kumar Sinha ji. May I request the team to present a memento for Mr. Amit Kumar Sinha. I would request Mr. Sinha.
Presenting the memento. Really, it was very enlightening to listen on the drones, and Niti Aayog was very much instrumental in developing the policy on drones, you see. So the cabinet policy, which the cabinet approval, which the finally policy got, it was approved with lot of inputs and initiative of Niti Aayog, and we are trying to take it forward. And fortunately, the best part was that drone was made a part of the PLI scheme also. So the idea was that if drones are coming for the first time, they must be encouraged. The manufacturing of it must be encouraged by Government of India interest. Yes.
Great. So speaker memento from Mr. Sinha from Niti Aayog for Mr. Sinha from ITDA. The next speaker memento for Mr. Piyush Gupta from NMCG, National Mission for Clean Ganga. Mr. Piyush Gupta. I would request Mr. Sinha also to present a memento to Mr. Saurav Guha Thakurta, GM and CIO, Webel, West Bengal Electronics Development Corporation. Next memento for Mr. Shyam Bihari Singh, GM, Beltron, Bihar State Electronics Development Corporation. Two speaker mementos for the industry partners as well. Manas Upadhyay, CTO, D-Town Robotics. And Vivek Gupta, founder and CEO, Microsoft Technologies. In fact, I would also request all the speakers to take a copy of the eGov magazine. Let's have a group photograph with the e-governance magazine. E-governance, those who were not there earlier, is a flagship magazine by Elets on ICT innovations. So with this, we conclude this part of today's conference as far as hall number 1 is concerned. I would request all the esteemed delegates here to please proceed to hall number 2. We are having some quite interesting discussions there at hall number 2, first floor. May I request all the delegates to please move on and proceed to hall number 2 on first floor. We have got one more last panel discussion on revenue management. My request to Elets team to please escort, please guide all the delegates to hall number 2 in first floor. हाँ सर